What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Mike. My friend Jorge. He's
Hello.
actually the host, but he's making me do the introduction to the Boys Podcast. Dude, my allergies are killing me.
Yeah.
I've been living on Claritin D, and I feel like I'm like one of those people that's always bitching about stuff.
Mm.
You know that?
Yeah. Well, I was going to come in here with a positive attitude and say, like, dude, I've been loving the weather lately.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I'm not.
But that's
just-
kind of the
just
reason
allergies.
why you have allergies.
Yeah.
Because of the weather.
Yeah, I bitched about the winter. Now I'm bitching about the allergies. But it's my dog's fault.
Yeah.
You know, she goes out and rolls around in the bushes,
Oh, yeah.
and then, I mean, I love her. So she sleeps on the bed and stuff, and I wake up just itching my eyes. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not on drugs, folks. It's just a little red eye. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be good.
All right.
What's new? Talk to me.
Not too much. Just hanging out. I actually got out to the track this weekend.
Nice.
We talked
Saw
about
that Fernley.
Yeah, the 95 MX or whatever
Mhm.
it's called. It was cool. Dude, the best part about it was there's no one there.
Yeah.
Serious. I don't know if it's like that all the time. I doubt it, but it's probably because of Hangtown this weekend.
Yeah.
So most people were over the hill watching the race. So, dude, top 15 people.
Yeah.
Top.
Which sucks because you want to see the sport grow and the track take off, but
Yeah.
hopefully it is just Hangtown. Yeah.
But I was pretty pumped on that. The track was pretty cool. You know, it's just super fast, open.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like a exit 28
Mhm.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Big old tables. Nothing too technical to kind of slow you down in
Yeah.
certain parts. But I mean, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I haven't ridden the
it's
track
always
in a while.
it's cool to have a prep track out here in the desert, especially.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been my bone to pick with this sport, right? Because like Chase Sexton just got hurt.
Mhm.
Everyone's like, man, how come all the stars in moto are getting hurt and this and that? And what's the debate? How do we make the sport safer and all this? And I'm like, ever since the bikes have gotten faster, like 450s are 3 times the power of a 252 stroke, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the tracks are freeways.
Yeah.
Like even in Supercross, like look at Supercross, those dudes are going so fast. Like in the early 90s when the bikes were slow, the whoops would be like 4 feet tall, and then the next one's 6 feet, you know, and then 5 feet. There was no like rhythm to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like by the end of the night, they were basically just kind of doubling through them, and it was kind of slowing everything down.
Yeah.
You know, and there's wall jumps, there's sand sections, and now you look at these like outdoor tracks, and like Hangtown actually was good because it was more of a technical. I mean, there's wide open parts, you know, but like a lot of stuff that kind of slows them down.
Yeah.
And you go to these practice tracks, like 3 of my hardest crashes ever were in Vegas on 450s because it was wide open and it's slick. You know, like
Yeah.
I said, they'd water it. And like one time I was like 3rd or 4th gear pinned and just went over this little tabletop into a left-hander and was watered. And I lost my front end again and knocked myself out again.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone's like, how do we make the sport safer? Well, slow the damn tracks down.
Yeah.
You know, especially like a Fernley track or something where you got a lot of like probably inexperienced riders out
Mhm.
there. It's like, why are you making these dudes go 3rd gear pinned, turn 3rd gear pin, turn third? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, S turns, dude, and like slowly, like Silver State Raceway back in the day. You
Yeah.
know, it was tight and technical and, but still outdoor style and
Mhm.
fast. And I think that's what I don't know why people think that making the track fast and basic, like with just basic tabletops, is safer than, you know, slowing it down and having like maybe a little more steep jumps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, out there was this pretty big tabletop that was like probably 80 to 100 feet.
mhm.
I was like looking around, I don't see an ambulance out here. I ain't doing that.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's no reason to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's fun to ride, but you know, a lot of times I have a good little pace going and stuff, and then I come up to a feature like that, and I know I'm not jumping it,
Yeah.
so like I got to slow down, and it kind of. I was telling Heather a lot of times that like makes you more tired
Yeah.
by slowing down and taking that impact instead of like actually jumping it and
Yeah.
landing good. And
Yeah, and it ruins like your rhythm and your
Yeah.
momentum and stuff when you're kind of stopping and going like that. So yeah, I don't know. I would like to see, even for the pros down to the amateurs, like every track, just slow down a little bit. Cause like I said, I've never been so scared in my life as I was like at Boulder, you know, in Vegas. It's like, dude, there was one straightaway that was like the length of 395 with jumps in it.
yeah,
And I'm 4th gear on my 450. And I'm like, dude, I'm starting to feel kind of like I'm
Yeah.
in danger. Like if one little thing happens, you know, you hit a rock or something,
Mhm.
dude. And it was always scary. It's like, man, I just, you know, like our days of growing up, it was like the tracks were fast and outdoor style, but there was stuff to slow you down, you know, and make it more tech. Like Hangtown had like that bitch and off camber up at the top, like right after the start, and they kind of go up the top.
yeah,
And they just have that cool little S turn down the hill. It's like, yeah, they're not wide open there and going fast, but I guarantee if we walked that, you'd realize the slope of it, how steep it is, you know, the popping over into the rut. And I'm like, I like that kind of stuff because for one, it shows the rider's talent. All those dudes can go fourth gear wide open down a straightaway.
Yeah.
But to like see like Hunter Lawrence was nailing that section. See, I'm watching moto again. You like that? But Hunter was nailing that section. He had this little thing where he kind of popped his back end over the bump right into the rut and just was hooking the rut up. I'm like, dude, that's sick. And I like seeing that stuff more than wide open. You know, even the couple straightaways later, that uphill rhythm section. It's like, imagine if that, like on a local track, that's just going to be a straightaway. But for those dudes, it's like they're still hauling ass through it. But, you know, they're still jumping it, kind of having to like case into it and slow down to the turn. And I just think they need more stuff like that because the bikes are so fast. These guys are so good that, man, like when you watch them now, like when they crash, they crash.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like there's been some big ones. So I would definitely like to see, even on outdoor tracks, just a little more technicality and slowing down to keep the riders safe.
Yeah, me too. And that's kind of why, like, you know, I talk about it a lot, but like Mammoth Motocross, like that track's fun to me because there's basically 2 jumps that are like decently big, like 60 feet or whatever it may be. And then in the back, they change it to sand section. They'll sometimes do kind of like doubles, step on, step offs, whatever it may be. That kind of fucks me. When I get there, I'm like, oh, they made it hard this year, you know, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's more just turns and the terrain. Yeah. Like the uphill, downhill, all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty fun. But, dude, wide open on a track that's half that size. Yeah. It's scary.
It's scary. And then you get kids out there like what happened to you, you know, like they're just like the freaking practice track warriors and they won't stop at nothing. And it's like if that dude clips you and you guys are both third gear, it's going to hurt no matter what, you know, like I'd rather get taken out in like a tight little turn, you know, than.
Well, and that was good. Yeah. Imagine if I going up to like a jump and I didn't jump it and he just jumps over me or like runs into me or something like that. So it sucks. But speaking of that, you watched the race. Did you see Alex Martin?
Oh, Jeremy Martin.
Oh, Jeremy Martin?
Yeah.
Dude. So dislocated wrist and broken wrist.
I like how they slow-moed it too, so you could really see the bone just going, or his arm going forward. Yeah. That was disgusting.
That was gnarly.
And I think it was Ryan Hughes or someone on Instagram posted it. And it's like, why does stuff always happen to dudes like this?
Yeah.
Like he's a good kid. He trains his ass. I mean, every time he comes back from an injury, he's in just as good a shape as when he, you know, got laid off the bike. And it's like black clouds and moto are real.
Yeah, bad place, bad time type of deal. And then there's guys that crash, kind of like that McAdoo kid. He weeds himself and he gets up from it. Yeah. Yeah, he's like hurt a little bit, but nothing like
it's
breaking
weird.
the bone all the time.
You know, and Martin's not just like, you know, freaking eating shit bad. It's like he washes out or gets clipped up, washes out in a turn, and then gets his arm ran over.
That one was pretty tough.
Yeah. So it's like, that just sucks. And you just wonder how much more he's got in him. You know, I mean, I don't know if he's made it through his season yet. And
he's like Trey Kennard.
Yeah.
Just getting hurt all the time.
The one thing I will say though is like Trey's done a really good job of it since he brought his name up. And a lot of it, like Ryan Morris, Will Hahn, these type of dudes, it's like they find a good spot in the industry. It's safer. You got a guaranteed paycheck. You know, it sucks because we all want titles, race wins, everything. But at some point, you know, like, I mean, Jeremy's got titles, you know, so he could retire and hold his head high, and like Will Hahn did. And man, just enough's got to be enough. I mean, I only got hurt 4 or 5 times and it was nothing like really gruesome.
Right.
Dude, and it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, like it sucks because like it's scary. Like in freestyle, it scares you. Like moto, you never know what's going to happen. Like Jeremy didn't anticipate crashing right there.
Yeah.
But like in freestyle, if you crash on a trick, it's like, I don't want to do that trick no more. You know, like you kind of,
yeah.
And then dude, it just like, it kind of trickles down. Yeah. So I'm really glad I just watch it on TV.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I'm not getting a bike.
That sucks. It's fun, dude.
I know.
I mean, like I said, being out there this weekend at the track, I went on Sunday. No, wait, Saturday.
Probably
because
Saturday,
the race was Saturday.
Yeah.
So I went on Saturday, and dude, when we were leaving, there was one guy on the track just ripping.
Dude, he's probably so stoked.
By himself.
Yeah, so stoked. Just have that place to himself.
Yeah.
And
so that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure it gets busy on certain weekends, but for the most part. And the track was cool. What's his name? Not Adam, but the other. Tyler. So he was out there.
Yeah.
Messing around and stuff. So I'm glad there is some place to ride. So I finally went out there. You know, I heard a lot that it was super rocky from the very beginning, but it's not like that no more. So
yeah, I know he's been putting a ton of work in, and like you can see there's a dirt filter out there, and you know, like I said, it's cool because he's not even from this area.
Yeah.
Right. Originally. And it's cool. He came in and stepped up and took it over and is trying, because we do have a good scene around here. You know, maybe not like pro scene stuff, that's kind of diminished, but dude, we have tons of riding out here.
Yeah.
Lots of people on bikes. It's like people want to go to a prep track, like especially now we're getting to midsummer. It's like, dude, you don't ride out here in the middle of summer.
No.
It sucks.
Yeah.
You know? So he's trying. I really hope it takes off for him. He's a really good dude. Like I said, he didn't have to do this. You know, he came in and as an ex-Supercross racer and stuff, he has some street cred to like put his name behind it. And it's cool dudes like you were out there supporting it. And maybe I'll come out with a cooler sometime.
Yeah, you should.
I'll be the dad. I'll just drink on the tailgate and tighten your chain when you come in.
I need some tips. But so what'd you do this weekend?
This weekend, dude.
Golf?
Yeah, but this is going to come as a surprise. I kept it on 2 wheels pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not changed. Okay. I'll still have my benders, but you know, I think,
not to cut you off, but
why you cut me off?
No, I was just going to say it was real weird because I just kind of, you know, the last few weeks you have been gone. So I'm like thinking that you're gone.
Yeah.
But you're here.
I was here.
It's kind of weird.
Sweatpants on the couch.
Yeah. Cool.
I think because I am still human. Okay. I know it seems weird, but I'm human. That month just kind of caught up to me, you know, with Tulsa, Jersey, you know, going to Salt Lake, and like Thursday, nothing was really going on. Friday, I think we golfed. Now maybe we golfed Thursday. Windier than hell sucked, dude. I had still had like 4 beers. I'm not saying I was just totally normal, but Friday, everyone like, you know, Brinkley's kind of selling his side-by-side business. He was dealing with that. A lot of people were just kind of doing their own thing. So I'm like, cool. And then Saturday came and I'm like, I'm going to chill out again. I think me and Bubs had like 4 beers, no, we didn't even watch the race. Oh, we golfed in Tahoe. 8-hour round.
Damn.
It was a charity tournament. And so Rosie, this girl we went to high school with, it was like kind of her family runs it. So they did a 12-some. It was a scramble where you take the best ball, but dude, there was 12 of us on the tee box at one time. And it took forever, but it was fun. I actually golfed with some kids who just won like their region of state title.
Oh, cool.
And dude,
like high school kids?
Yeah. They were like 14, 15. And dude, they ripped the ball like probably 30 yards further than me.
Damn.
Yeah. They're all like scrawny and just like flexible and stuff, you know? But it was fun getting to watch these kids that are like passionate about golf. Like me and Bubs told them, because, you know, we had 20 minutes on every tee box. And we just kept telling them, like, dude, stick with it. Like, everyone sees the PGA Tour. But it's like, why not stick with golf and do something with golf with your life, period? You know, like 1% is going to make it to the tour.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. It was a long day. So by the time we got back, we threw Hangtown. I barely made it to like 9:30.
Where'd you golf at?
It's Tahoe City Golf Club. It's like deep Tahoe. Like
how was
it? It's all right.
Okay.
It's an older course, and it was like a par 66 or something. But it's Tahoe golf.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the trees, nice shade, like all the creeks are running obviously with the runoff. So that was fun. We got second. We shot 11 under, and we only had 3 of us technically because my dad didn't make it. So it was just me, Rosie, and Bubs. And Bubs pretty much carried the team, but I did make some good putts. So I was like, cool, dude. Awesome. But yeah, like I said, 8 hours on the golf course. It was 80 degrees out. We got home through Hangtown on, and like I felt old. Like it was like 8:30, and I'm like, I hope I make it till 9, you know? But Sunday we did men's club and I fired up the bender again.
Okay.
Well, not really bender, but yeah, I got hammered on Sunday. Got my dad hammered.
For missing Saturday.
Missing Saturday. And then, yeah, that was about it. Nothing, no cool stories, no hole-in-ones or nothing. Just regular. I did make $22.
Okay.
So on 18, I was playing like shit, right? The whole day. I was playing good, but like nothing was coming together. And on 18, our last hole, I had like a 30, 40 foot putt for birdie. And I'm like, screw it. And I basically like closed my eyes and hit the ball and it went in. And no one else birdied it. So I got $22.
Nice.
And it was a $20 buy-in. So I was $2 profit.
Hey, well, you know what they say.
Better be lucky than good.
No, they say you're professional once you make money. So you're a professional golfer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm up to $71 this year in men's club.
There you go.
So, I mean, you know, almost got my house paid off and stuff. So, yeah, it's looking good.
Almost like the last guy on the PGA.
Yeah, right?
71 million probably.
Jesus. Yeah, I had a lot of zeros to that. But, yeah, that was fun. And I think, like, June's actually looking pretty... I've got some fun little charity tournaments around here, but nothing till the end of June. I'm going to Florida. Short Par 4 is actually a company I've been with for a long time, and they're doing, like, a Ryder Cup style, which is like a team event, like one day or one round's alternate shot. I don't know exact format, but they invited me out for that. So I'll go to Florida at the end of the month, but it's kind of nice. Like I love traveling and I get bored as hell here, but it is kind of nice resetting a little bit and having, you know, a month at home where I can actually like go grocery shopping and eat at home. Cause I get so sick of eating out all the time and dropping my damn dog off at my parents' house every day. So yeah, looking forward to a little downtime here. Weather's getting nice.
when you travel, say, I mean, like a week and more, right? Being gone.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite part of coming back home?
Seeing my dog.
Well, besides that,
Okay.
like normal, old, everyday kind of type deal.
Like I said, I think I've said it before. I hate living out of a bag, right? Like, especially if you're doing like when I did that film trip with those 2 golf influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did Oceanside, San Diego, Phoenix. So it's like you got a pile of dirty clothes. You know, you're reloading your bag, fixing it, moving around. You're just like never settled.
Right.
Like I'm a very routine guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love like getting up, showering, you know, being able to just brush my teeth right there. Like when I was in Jersey, Derek's house was full. So it's like my clothes bag's downstairs in the living room. So it's like every morning I have to walk down there, grab all my stuff, walk up, shower, put it back in my bag. And it's like, I just kind of get over that part of it. Like I love just like having my own stuff kind of like spread out.
Yeah.
But I do that for like a week and then I'm like, okay, where's the next trip? I'm getting bored.
Yeah. Dude, I noticed that a week or whatever it may be, I think the longest I've ever been gone is like a month.
Mm-hmm.
But driving my own vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it feels so good coming back home and driving.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're out, you're taking Ubers or taxis, walking, whatever it may be. But just so coming back and just being able to drive, it kind of makes me feel like human normal.
I know. Dude, and that's funny you said that because I was actually thinking of that because last year I did South Africa for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Never drove, never did nothing. And it's like, dude, you miss like just being able to go to the grocery store. Or like, even like if I'm hungry, I like go and cook breakfast. You're not relying on other people's schedule and time and stuff, you know? So like usually after we're done with the podcast, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go to Rayleigh's. I just go to Rayleigh's just to like go do it. You know what I mean? And go get food and stuff. And yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand. Like probably listen to this and think we're weird, but it's a real thing.
No, right.
You know, when you're kind of at the mercy of other people's timing and schedule and stuff. And it's like, man, I just want to get in my truck and just go get my stuff done.
Yeah. It's like that little going back to being normal in your own schedule in your own time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Like I said, like even if I go for 4 days, you know, you park your truck at the airport, and when I come back and I get in, I'm all
yes. Yeah, you like just feel such like a relief almost.
Yeah.
That's what the one thing, because everyone's like, man, your career and your life was so awesome, right? And dude, 100% was. Like I say it every podcast, I'm so thankful for the way it all panned out. But people don't see like the last shows I rode. Like we were in Spain for 2 weeks, you know, and then just outside of London for a week. And it's fun, but I've been going there for 15 years, right? So I've said it. I'm like, I'm not going to sightsee. I'm there for work.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, dude, you're in Spain. Like, go do something. I'm like, you know, I'm sitting in a hotel room looking at stuff my friends are doing at home. You know, like I said, my parents are getting together with my friends and barbecuing and stuff. And I'm just sitting in this hotel room. Yeah. Because we ride our shows like Friday, Saturday night, Sunday through Thursday. You're just sitting there. Yeah. You know, so that got old. I think that's kind of what really wore me out is I like being active. I like doing stuff, you know, and to just kind of sit there. And luckily, like I had Chris Haffey on tour. He was the rollerblade guy for Nitro. He loved golf. So we'd try to get out a couple times a week. But if I could add up how much of my life I spent in airports, like on layovers or delays and hotels, it's astonishing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that stuff got old. The riding always made it worth it. And like, the first years of going to Spain, Australia, New Zealand was awesome because it was all brand new. But, you know, I rode for 15 or 20 years. It's like, it starts to get old. Yeah. Right. So I'm thankful now. Like my trips are fun. They're golf related. They're short. You know, I'm back home. I'm not just like sitting around just killing phone battery, wasting time drinking at a bar or something, you know?
Well, what's cool is like the change in venues, the change in everything. You know, you were doing that for so long and it's moto related. And then now your travel is for something different. It's not moto still. Yeah. You know, even if you were doing moto, if you were just like the team manager for, you know, a goggle company and you were traveling, it's still for the same stuff that you were doing in your previous career. So now it's for something different. Like, you know, I went from doing kind of the same photography and all that with you guys to going to trade shows for a company. And it was way
new
different.
And exciting.
It's cool.
Yeah. You're like learning something. And dude, I'll tell you the thing I like the most about the career change is like, you know, if I'm flying to Tulsa or New Jersey for golf, I have my golf clubs. If they get lost, dude, I can get a rental set. True. Right? Like I'm not stressed about conditions and ramps that we're going to end up riding and this and that and being good at a contest, right? Like now it's Like I went to Germany one year. The last year I went to Dortmund for the Supercross. I got there, dude, and my suspension was nowhere to be found. And I was getting older, so I was more like to the point of what I wanted, right? The guys are like, just ride the bike stock for tonight. And I'm like, no, I'm not riding a stock 450 with shit bars on it, suspension, and risking it just for you guys, you know? And my suspension showed up. So it was a 3-day show. I didn't ride the first night at all. And my suspension showed up 20 minutes. They rolled my bag in 20 minutes before we were supposed to ride. Dude, the mechanics threw my bike together and I went out and rode. And I'm like praying that they tightened everything. And I haven't hit the ramp yet. There's 25,000 people in this arena. I'm like, well, here, because I think we got a couple warm-up jumps, thankfully. So I hit the ramp twice and we went right into our show plan. And I'm flipping by like the 4th jump. And I'm like, I'm so done with that kind of stuff. You know, that's where I was starting to really get burnt out. And like I said, now I lose my golf clubs. Like I'm bummed I don't have my golf clubs, but I can rent. It's not scary. It's not my life and my job on the line, you know, and having to make those hard decisions of literally, I just flew 17 hours to Germany and now I'm sitting here in the stands watching the show. Yeah. Because my stuff didn't show up. So,
and anyone could sit there and be like, man, you're a bitch. Just ride the bike. It's a normal bike. It's a good bike. But it's your settings and your everything.
It's just, it's so different from a stock bike. Cause like back to Sandy Valley, the place I rode in Vegas, everyone always wanted me to hit the ramp on the practice nights. And I was on my track bike, right? And it's two totally different settings for a lot of you guys that maybe don't know. It's our freestyle bikes, like you push on the seat, the shock doesn't move at all. It's stiff, you know, to take the ramp, to take the landing. But then you go to your moto bike and we like it real plush to like glide over the bumps. So where I started learning this is like one night I'm like, I'll go hit the ramp for him, you know, on my moto bike. And I hit it and it felt like I went through the ramp and I was like this high off the ground. You know, and the guys are like, you know, flip? And I'm like, no. Because I felt like if I flipped, I was just going to just blow through the ramp. So fast forward a couple years to Dortmund, it's like, oh, just ride the stock bike for tonight. And I'm like, no, because I know how it feels. I'm going to ride like I'm going to embarrass myself because I'm probably not going to flip. I can't do a lot. I didn't even have cutouts on my bike. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So there's just a big difference there. And people probably don't understand that, probably do think I'm a bitch here and there. But a lot of guys are like that. Like, picture like a Taka or a Sheeny or someone now doing varials and double backflips.
I mean, but that's the purpose of why you take your own stuff. Like if it didn't matter, you would just show up and ride.
Yeah, exactly. So that stuff sucked. I'm glad that's behind me. That's another thing with, you know, everyone thinking our career is illustrious and this and that. It's like there was a lot of stress involved, a lot of stuff you're always worried about, you know, stuff that normal people wouldn't think about. They just see an arena or a stadium and us riding. There's so much behind the scenes. Like, you know, you flying out of Reno. If I was going to Spain or something, dude, 2-3 layovers, 30 hours of travel, get there, you sleep. Next morning practices at 9 a.m. I slept like 2 hours because I'm all jet lagged. And there was a lot of variables into it. Like I said, so glad I did it. Have no regrets on it, but I just wish sometimes outside people could see more of what goes on. Just like a golfer, you know, they see Tiger Woods make $100 million. Like, oh, I want to golf. It's like, no, that dude has gone through tons of shit since he was a little kid. You know, it doesn't just happen. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on within it. So,
and that's why like documentaries are cool because they go into the life and you're like, oh, damn, I didn't know it was like that. Or I didn't know it was that hard or whatever it may be, you know? And just professionals make things look easy. And that's the problem. Because then everyone, and I'm a victim to it too, because sometimes I'm like, man, you pussy or whatever. But we're just fans. You know, so we want to see the best, or we want to, you know, why isn't this guy playing? He just like hurt his toe, sprained his toe. Like, come on, dude, you're getting paid millions, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, we're just fans, but we don't realize that stuff because they make it look so easy. So you're like,
and we don't see the time they've put in or what. And athletes have egos. We all know that, right? So when an athlete says he's hurt and he's maybe being a little pussy, it's probably a lot worse than he's leading on to be, right? Like I rode with a torn ACL for a year. I had to, because you know, in freestyle, you can't miss 6 to 8 months. You'll miss, and this was like the prime window of like traveling a bunch and getting paid a lot. And so I rode with a torn ACL, and like I remember in Dew Tour, I was nailing my run in Portland, whole thing, did it like just a cliffhanger. And when you do a cliffhanger, you come back and you're like, basically your feet land on the pegs as the bike hits the dirt. Dude, my foot hit the peg and popped my knee out. And I pulled off, and everyone's like, I didn't crash, nothing happened. Everyone's like, what the hell's wrong with Mason? You know, and my knees just ballooned. And so people aren't going to see that kind of stuff. And I'm not the hype man that's going to be out there like, oh, you know, I'm riding through this and that. It's like, I'm just trying to do my job. And it did suck back in the day of like message boards and shit when you'd see people talking shit. And I'm like, be in my body, dude. Like I got shoulders dislocating, knees dislocating. Like stuff's going to happen.
And the problem nowadays is like if you even look at like UFC fighters, they'll fight and then they lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even if they win, they're like, yeah, you know, I got hurt 3 months or 3 weeks into my training camp, and you're like, yeah, right, you pussy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's probably true, but
Yeah.
we just look at it like now it's just an excuse.
Yeah.
Like, well, how come you didn't say something before?
Yeah.
You know, so stuff like that. But yeah, it's part of being a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's just professionals make a lot of things look easy that they do.
Yeah.
And for us, it's kind of like, what's the big deal?
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, I'm guilty of it too. Like this whole Tiger Woods and his broken leg thing, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because it's a tib and fib. It's gnarly. He almost lost his leg. Alex Smith almost lost his leg.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of my freestyle buddies have almost lost their leg, right? And dude, he's got the world's best surgeons. He's got all the money in the world for therapy. And here we are like almost 3-4 years later, and he like says he still can't walk and stuff. And it's like Carey Hart jumped into the bucket of a loader that was on the track. It wasn't supposed to be, and snapped both his femurs and almost bled to death and was riding moto like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And you don't see him when he's riding now, like being like, oh, my femur is still, you know. And but once again, I don't know what it's like to be in his body.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because I know tib and fib is like the least blood circulation throughout your whole body. So that's why it's so long to heal. So I try not to talk so much shit, but I get so sick of watching the Golf Channel when Tiger comes back to, oh, is the leg going to hold up? Is he okay? And I'm like, everyone I know has broke a tib and fib.
Yeah.
You know, and they're all fine. And sometimes I think he milks it like,
yeah,
you know, they'll ask him about it and he's like, oh, it's so sore right now. I'm like, dude, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
And you have the world's best like therapy and everything. And
it's like I woke up normal today and I'm sore. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, dude. Ellie slept on my lower back last night, dude. I freaking barely got out of bed. I'm not complaining about it until just now.
Like I said, I think that's more of a excuse for him, and it's an easy one.
Yeah.
And then the problem with everything nowadays is media.
Yeah.
Media, social media, everything. That's the biggest problem we have, where they're just dying for a story.
Yeah.
So he's just like, oh, I woke up today, my leg was hurting. So now it's like, oh, Tiger might have re-hurt his leg last night.
He shot 4 over. His leg's got to be killing him. It's like, no, everyone's really good now. You know, and golf's hard, and he doesn't get to play competitive golf as much as he used to, and you can't do that these days, right? So, remember on my bike, I used to Sharpie media kills talent.
Yeah,
my number, dude, that's like so true now. I just did it more as like back then it was a popularity contest, right? You could do 2 tricks and get hired for shows everywhere, but dudes that are flipping are not getting hired.
Yeah,
that's why I did it. But now, like the more you look at it, the more it's like becoming true. Is like, you know, let's say you've got Xander Schauffele and Jordan Spieth and all these dudes who are just winning and winning and winning. But if Tiger makes a comeback, it's a week of Tiger coverage.
Yeah.
And I get it, dude. He built the sport. He's made it why these guys are making, you know, $50 million a year.
But he makes that comeback and it's all the news on him, right? So then imagine all that. You go out and play, you don't do what Tiger does.
He'll do 1 round and withdraw.
Yeah, and then you withdraw and it's easy to be like, oh, my leg.
Yeah.
I mean.
And we just had to watch a week of Masters coverage only talking about Tiger and his leg. Not talking about these dudes who are world number 1 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they get a small window, you know, but it drives me nuts. Like it's like, you know, LeBron James, like he could not make the finals and his name will come up 80 times in the finals. Like, oh, well, LeBron did this in game 3. It's like, they have to have that story, but they're taking away from stories that actual fans want to see.
Yeah.
You're going, like when you say Tiger Woods on the Golf Channel, you're getting the people that don't pay attention to golf. But like when I watch golf and they're talking about John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler, I'm like, dude, these guys are insane right now. Tiger's era was older people.
Yeah.
He reset golf, right? Now you have like 8 Tigers, 9 Tigers, 10 Tigers. That's why there's not a dominant golfer right now. Like John Rahm and Scheffler are gnarly for even winning multiple, you know, 3-4 times this year.
Yeah.
And they get so little coverage, but like Tiger's leg, dude.
Yeah.
And Tiger's back at this tournament and Tiger's going to play the majors. It's like, God, I get so sick of hearing it.
Yeah. They make all the headlines for clicks. And that's what matters to them. So
start our own media company.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the dudes that miss the cut every time because that would be me.
Yeah, well, let's talk about breaking news that happened about an hour. So we're recording our podcast earlier this week, Tuesday, June 6th, I believe.
Sounds good.
Yep, that's what it is.
Okay.
Breaking news, the PGA Tour has agreed to merge with the Saudi-backed rival, Liv Golf.
I don't know what took so long, honestly. This whole thing, I think it was like a big dick contest, right? Like who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And yeah, I've been watching it all morning, and it's so funny now because I was telling you before we hopped on the pod, Like I think Will Zalatoris got offered like 100 or 110 million dollars. He's 23 or 24 years old
to play on Liv.
To play on Liv,
yeah,
and he turned it down because he's a record books guy like Justin Thomas. He wants stats, and this and that. And it's like, well, now look, DJ took like $130 million, and now he's going to be back on tour, and so now like on the live broadcast, like all the PGA players are like pouting, like, oh, this kind of came as a surprise, kind of unfair, this and that, and it's like, Liv put out offers to all you guys, or a lot of you guys, and they all turned it down. So it's like you can't pout now. You knew it was coming. I mean, dude, not to say the name, but fuck, Trump last year tweeted, he's like, these players that are passing this money up are going to be really bummed when there's a merger.
Yeah.
Last year, dude. And I'm like, there might be a merger, and sure as shit, here we are. DP World Tour, all of it. And
so what are your thoughts on it?
I like it. I do like it. I like what Liv did because if you pay attention, the tour purses are way up, right? Like Viktor Havland just made $3.6 million this weekend.
Yeah.
And it's not a major. It's one of their big events where all the players are at. Like they said, Scheffler made, I think, $3.5 million at Waste Management. He won the same tournament last year and made 1.4.
Yeah.
So I've always said that competition's good for anything, right? Like, so Liv coming in, all of a sudden PGA has like a bonus $500 million that they just found.
Yeah.
When they've been ripping players off for years. And I know some people will disagree with me, but that's the truth of it. Like, how do you just find $500 million when a new tour comes out?
Yeah. 2 plus 2 always equals 4.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. Like I told you, I caddied for that Brett Druitt dude. And I think he got his tour card. He was top 125, or I think he was Corn Ferry. I'm sorry. Got his tour card, played a handful of PGA events and lost $60,000 for the year. Flights, caddies, everything. Why is that this dude reaches the pinnacle of his sport and loses 60 grand? Like some person's not going to become a CEO of Apple and lose $60,000 or make the Major League Baseball team and lose 60 grand. Yeah. PGA is one of a kind like that because if you miss a cut, there's no money.
Right.
So then he's banking on a couple of low paying sponsors. He's not a Spieth getting, $20 million from AT&T or something. He's banking on like, man, I hope clubs and golf balls, I can get like a 20 grand check.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with that. It sucked caddying for him and like kind of listening to his story and the stress. That's why there's stress is like, you're losing money. You're trying to feed your family. You've made it, and so I love Liv for that fact. I also said I loved Liv like the Pro-Am was fun and music, alcohol on the course. Like for me, that was fun.
Yeah.
But I like both. And now them coming into a merger, for one, we get to stop hearing about it. Like you try and watch like the Golf Today show and they're like, oh, and then Liv and Phil Mickelson and Liv this and Liv's bad for the game. It's like now we can just have golf back.
Yeah.
I love watching Cameron Smith, Dustin Johnson. It was fun watching them at Liv, but it's more fun watching them at the majors. And I don't know what brought it up. I don't know because their ratings had to have taken a little hit because I think there was like something where the majors ratings were way up because you have a bonus 20 players that you don't get to watch no more. And I can't see like the tours ratings being super, especially on these non-designated events. Like I watched one and there's like one name in it.
Yeah.
But I love golf. So I'm watching, the golf itself. So I like it. I'm glad hopefully we're done with this. We don't have to hear about he said, she said, whatever. And, we get the Dustin Johnsons, the Koepka's back, and it should be a more relaxed. I don't think they're going to go to like live format, right? It's not going to be 3 days of golf. I think they're going to keep the tour format. But what's going to benefit these guys is these designated events now. Like Dustin Johnson doesn't have to play 40 weeks out of the year. He plays 17 tour or events, and if they keep it that way. So that's because like talking to Pat Perez at Liv, I'm like, so how do you like this stuff? Is it cool? And he's like, I love it. And he's older, right?
Yeah,
so he's not an up and like Cameron Smith was the one that shocked me because he had a good chance of being like world number one. But talking to Pat Perez, he's like, you know how many times I was first tee time? So I was on the range in the dark at 4 a.m.
Damn.
Hitting his balls, warming up, eating breakfast, and then teeing off at 6:30. He's like, this, because I think Liv starts at like noon usually. He's all, this is awesome. He's all, I'm too old to be out there practicing in the dark at 4 a.m. And so hopefully they combine the 2 or the 3 now with the DP as well, and just make the tour fun for these guys. They're entertainment for us. We don't want to see this bullshit drama. We don't want to see players, like DJ giving up because he's on his 8th week in a row of, gnarly golf. Because those dudes, back to like being fans and looking on the, the outside, is we see Thursday through Sunday they made $3.5 million. Those dudes get done Sunday, fly to the next event. They're on the range Monday, practice round Monday, Tuesday, Pro-Am Wednesday, back on the course.
Yeah.
Right. So like a normal job, you work Monday through Friday. These dudes, if they do a 3 to 4 week stretch, it's every single day.
Every single day, yeah.
And you know, your body starts getting tired. You're mental. Like golf's a crazy mental sport. So, like picture John Rahm winning the Masters, and then I can't remember where the tournament was, but he flew out the next day to play another tournament. Like imagine his brain at that point from grinding and winning one of the like most prestigious Masters. It's like,
and like I think what you were saying, imagine being a guy that's towards the bottom where you know you got to do good. You just did shitty.
Yeah.
And you got to go to the next one. You got to be like, all right, dude, regroup. Like you got to do good.
You
make
have
some
to,
money.
yeah. And then you have no confidence.
Yeah. But then your confidence is down and you do shitty again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just a slippery slope. So that's where I'm going with this is I really hope this merger is more money for everybody. It relaxes the top players so we get their best golf. Like these 17 designated events are awesome because they get to relax. You know, they'll play 2-3 weeks in a row and then they got a month off.
Yeah.
So I think Liv was awesome as far as that aspect. People can disagree with me on that. And I'm not saying Liv's the best, Liv's the way golf should be, this and that. I'm saying Liv opened up the eyes to the tour.
Yeah.
To where we're going to get better golf now.
Yeah.
Right? You're not getting guys out there just suffering and you're not getting guys losing money. Because I think now, like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think if you miss the cut, it's like $5,000. And they have incentives for like the bottom 125, which is how many make the tour. They have incentives like up to like $500,000, depending on your play. Yeah. So there's like, now you can relax a little bit. You're not like, I have to keep my card. I have to make the cut. It's like, even if it's $5,000, that's not a lot, but it pays for your expenses and you're not out of pocket to go play at this event, you know? And so, yeah, I think it's I'm interested to see. It starts after this season. So next season, we'll see how it all works. But I think it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So I kind of just see it from the business standpoint. And I don't really know much about it. So if you could chime in. But so when I see the merger happen, I basically see the big corporation taking over, even though Saudi money is, I mean, you know, probably
sketchy.
Unmatched, you know?
Yeah.
But I see the big PGA coming in and being like, all right, this is our competitor. Yeah. Same thing that Mark Zuckerberg does with Facebook. Everything that comes out, they buy Snapchat, they buy Instagram, they buy
WhatsApp,
like WhatsApp.
all that. Yeah.
So that's kind of what first thing that popped into my head. So is that kind of this thing that's going on here, or they're just merging? Why?
I don't know. Like I said, I think the PGA is a big money market now, right? And I think that they probably see the money in it. They see the value, and I think they kind of did Liv almost as like an FU. Because here's the thing. I've tried to get this through my dad's head. He's hard-headed, old school Arnold Palmer guy, right?
Shout out to Steve
Mason. Thanks for making me. But the PGA Tour, I'd have to look it up. But dude, I think it's like a $4 billion a year nonprofit. Yeah. Like explain that one to me, right? $4 billion a year. And the purses were like a total of 200 million or something like that last year. And then you have sponsors paying for the tournament. So, you know, there's more money. And it's just the old thing of like the athletes always get ripped off. The people that are making this show are getting ripped off. Yeah. Right. Without, that's my dog, by the way. She's roaming around. But I loved seeing it because it broke my heart seeing Brett lose money. Like I can't imagine, you know, getting to X Games finally and losing, you know, $10,000 just to be at X Games. It's like, nah, I'm not there to just be there. I'm there to put on a show for your company, for ESPN, for, you know, so I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like we'll never know what goes on behind the scenes, right? We don't know. But one thing I do know is the PGA Tour at one point had no problem with Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Rory going over and playing the Saudi Open or the Dubai Open or the Abu Dhabi, you know, the one-off events. But the second they make a tour with a bunch of money and pay these players what they should be paid, all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yeah, make the competitions out there.
Yeah. And if you really want to go into detail, like how many PGA events have been sponsored by like an oil company? Like, you know, I don't know, like Valero or something, right? Where do you think that's not like a American-made company? Yeah. It's like they're just as guilty of taking the money, but the second that it started taking away their stars and you know, the only thing people hear about Liv is Phil Mickelson getting like almost 200 million. DJ getting 130, DeChambeau getting 100, you know, all these dudes. And they're like, oh, that's cool. They're just buying people. It's like, no, they're proving they have so much money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So they're buying people and proving a point. And like DJ said it on Full Swing, he's like, what person in this world, like say you with your cleaning business, say you're working 7 days a week and making, let's just say 10 grand. And then some company comes in, they're like, hey, you can work 2 days a week and we'll give you 20 grand. Mm-hmm. Like, tell me one person in this world that's gonna be like, no, I like the more work, it validates. Yeah. It's like, no, dude. And then DJ said that, he's like, I'm doing the same exact thing, but for less work, for way more money. Mm-hmm. And that's like where my dad doesn't get it. And a lot of these people,
And the only thing you're sacrificing, which are choices that people got to make, is
records,
Tour the PGA thing or whatever. Yeah. But if Liv didn't do this merger and Liv went on for another 10 years, 20 years, maybe then it's like people care about the Liv records.
Yeah.
So it's really what it comes down to, I think. And then, like I said, I don't know if it's a big company saw, the heat. So they were like, hey, let's merge with these guys because they are competition. So that obviously validates what Liv was doing, because if they just saw them as like nobodies, then this wouldn't happen. They'd be like, oh, whatever. Yeah. But they obviously saw that. And on Liv's part, I think, they have all the money and stuff, but they weren't getting the views like a PGA.
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
So this, is a good thing for them too.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just so glad to be done hearing about it. Mm-hmm. I want to watch my favorite golfers. Like I said, I've missed watching Cameron Smith on tour events. You miss that stuff. I'm glad I can watch golf today without having to hear some drama. Brandel Chambly is probably the worst dude in sports history. He's an analyst for Golf Channel. And that dude, you'd almost think PGA had to have paid him like a couple mil, because he is so like spiteful. Like, it was awesome. Just to bring up an example, like at the Masters, I guess Phil Mickelson didn't talk to no one. Mm-hmm. Like, something happened internally. We'll never know, but something happened with him in the PGA Tour, because even before Liv, he was like getting kind of spiteful against him and like kind of weird. But the whole week of the Masters, live from the Masters, Chambly is just going off on Mickelson. He's this, he's lost his mind. He's doing this, that, whatever. Phil comes out and gets second place. And then you have to watch Chambly. He's like, Phil can still play high quality golf. It sucks his personal life starting to bleed it, and he had to like bite his tongue a little bit. And he's the dude every week. These Liv players, I don't know if they can handle 4 rounds at this major. Brooks Koepka wins it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I love that. Like, that makes me more happy than anything, because these dudes are PGA professional golfers. Yeah. Like Brooks Koepka, just because he took $100 million and he only plays 3 rounds, twice a month, he's all of a sudden not a good golfer. Yeah. He played on one of the hardest PGA champ courses there is. Mm-hmm. Freaking shot like 9 under. Yeah. 4 A's. Right. So it's like, that's what I'm so glad to be done hearing about, because I'm an athlete, ex-athlete. Let's get that straight. Ex-athlete. I know what it takes to be in that situation. And I know when people talk shit on you, right? These guys still practice. Like DJ, I think on Liv had like 9 straight rounds of like in the 60s. So you're telling me he's not playing good. He just took money. He doesn't care about golf. It's like, dude, he's shooting 7 unders, nonstop. And let's get back to golf. Mm-hmm. Like, even just watching the thing this morning, one of the guys was like, well, the Saudis, they have deep pockets, and the PGA probably just had to cave. And it's like, no, Liv probably proved their point. Yeah. The PGA sees it. The PGA, like I said, finds $500 million. Now maybe it's more, hopefully, for all these dudes, right? And make golf awesome, dude. Mm-hmm. It's a good, dude, it's a booming sport. Oh, yeah. It's huge now. Like, you go to the local golf course, everyone's playing. So why do we have this drama? Like, let's get done with it. Let's watch the best golf out there. Yeah. Let's not hear about Tiger's leg. Dude, Liv should have just bought him a fake leg or something, that should have been their incentive. Hey, come to our tour, dude. We'll just give you a whole new leg. Yeah. But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked Liv proved their point. The PGA maybe swallowed their pride. And now you got the DP World Tour too, which is the European Tour. So now we've got a bunch of good golf coming up in the next year. It's going to be interesting, that guy that you're talking about next year when the ex-Liv players are coming on, his whole tone is going to change. Yeah. It's going to be like, oh yeah, Brooks, Oh yeah, he'll have to. It's going to be hilarious to watch, and hopefully someone can get the clips when he was bad-mouthing people. Oh yeah. The new clips. I'm going to have to tell Travis from PGA Memes to do like a collage or whatever, like montage of how things change. Yeah. In a year. Yeah. And that's just so annoying. Like I said, he had to have gotten paid off by the PGA. I don't think he's just doing that out of his own goodwill, because he was like absurdly annoying about it. Because a lot of the dudes on there, they're like, they don't agree with Liv. But like when Cameron Smith walks onto property at Augusta, they're like, Cameron Smith is still a favorite. Yeah. and then Brandon will be like, well, I don't know. He's not playing a lot of golf, I mean, his game's probably not in a good spot. And it's like, and then you go to the Augusta press conference and Cam Smith sits down. And the first thing is, so how's your game feeling since you're on Liv now and you don't play a lot? And he's all, I'm still at the range every day. I'm still practicing and playing, like everyone thinks going to Liv and taking a paycheck, they gave up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, these dudes, now they can have fun with what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like imagine
I'm sure they still got to, they got to play for that paycheck they got.
Yeah. Yeah. And, even if, the Saudis gave Cam Smith $100 million, I'd like to see that contract.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, hey, go out and party, do whatever you want, shoot 12 over. I don't care. It's like they probably are holding him to a standard.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So
for sure.
The whole thing was dumb. It's great for the sport. I'm glad to see it done now and just get back to what we love watching.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's a good thing. But the one thing I see a negative on is, and I think I brought this up on the podcast before, but Liv being out there gave hope to maybe the guys that would never make it on PGA.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like, what happens to those guys? And maybe with the merger and more money coming in and stuff, PGA will do stuff for those type of guys that are like at the cusp but don't make it. More events, stuff like that. And then also just for like the golf influencers, you got to go do that stuff and everything going on there. Just knowing how the PGA is and how they are so old school and everything. Yeah. Maybe they still want to keep it that way. So they're not going to be as open as Liv was. Yeah. So maybe things change on that scene as well. So
for sure.
I don't know. I see it bad in that way because now it's like I said, the big company buys the little company and then they take over. So then now like all the influencing they were doing, the cool events they were doing, maybe that comes to a stop. Yeah.
And we don't know. Like I said, we'll find out next year, but like you said, is what I think with this merger, it's going to open up because now you have 3 tours, right? Like, I don't know if Liv will even be a tour no more. It might just disintegrate and be part of the PGA. But now you have more money, more events. Like, they can still have these 17 designated events and then give the guys like Brett the other events.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I said, I watched one of them on TV and there was no one there. Like, no big names, Give those guys 30 events a year, right? 17, you've got the top 50 in the world, but then these other 30, 40 events, there's a fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all these dudes can play golf, dude. Like, Brett in his practice day, I walked with him. Dude, he didn't miss a shot. But the mentality of the real day, the stress and everything is where it comes into play, and that's where dudes succeed. But now maybe missing the cut is 20 grand, let's just say, for instance, right? So now he's going in the event freed up. He knows he has some money. He's freed up. He can play some good golf. Because I watched him. He was like 2 inside of the cut with like 6 to go. And I was like, damn, dude, we might actually go to the weekend. I might be like a real caddy. What does it say? Snap hooks his tee shot with like 3 or 4 holes to go and goes out of bounds, drops, hits a shitty shot, starts throwing he's throwing a fit. All he needed was like to birdie 2 of the last 4 holes, and he like parred all of them and missed the cut. And he was pissed. It's because he's not making nothing, and I could see that pressure built because the first day, like I think he had 6 birdies, and it's a Stableford, so birdies are points. It's not like a, -7. He played awesome, but I could see the pressure Friday morning and it built up. So let's get more money and, more events for these guys to show their stuff without having to go against the best all the time and not have that pressure and not worry about, like, I like the tour card idea. It's awesome. But like to be top 125 out of 500 PGA professionals that's a pretty tall task.
Yeah.
Right. So I would maybe hopefully with this merger, something changes there. It is cool because you get to have the playoffs. I like how they cut it from like 70 down to 30 to the tour championship. That's awesome. But make it to where these guys aren't so worried because on Liv, dude, when you talk to those dudes, they're all relaxed.
Yeah.
Like Pat Perez, dude.
They're having a fun time.
Yeah. He was the coolest dude ever. Lee Westwood, who's been on tour forever. I got to golf the front nine with him. So awesome. When I golf the Barracuda Pro-Am, it's like those dudes are there for work and they're figuring stuff out and there's pressure on the line. And this is the Barracuda. There's no Tiger. There's no Scheffler or Rahm. You know what I mean? And so hopefully this frees up because there's a lot of good golfers out there. There's a ton of good golf to be played. And I always root for the lower class because I was a privateer when I raced. I was a mid-pack freestyle guy. And so I always root for those dudes. So I'm really hoping this merger does more for the sport as a whole. not so much the Schefflers, Roms, you know, those guys, because those guys are set, dude.
Yeah, they're gonna get paid regardless.
Yeah, 2 good years on the tour, dude, and you're set.
Yeah.
Unless you're a complete idiot with your money. So hopefully it does branch out a little bit to the lower guys.
Yeah, dude, if you were a good caddy, you would have gave that guy a Snickers bar.
Oh, if I had one, I would give him a case, dude.
You know, change your attitude.
Yeah,
you get grumpy when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Change it up a little bit. I got to give a little shout out to Viktor Havland. So he won this past weekend.
Yep.
And not 24 hours go by, he's caddying for his buddy.
Yeah, his ex-teammate.
Yeah, 36 holes.
Yeah.
After winning $3.4 million, he's at the course with his buddy.
Yeah, helping him out.
Yeah, being his caddy. And it's like, dude, that's dope.
Yeah. And I was actually telling Bubs, I'm like, man, I wish I was young. Because, like, imagine that energy, right?
Yeah.
You just grinded for a whole week, played 4 rounds. I think it went to a playoff maybe or somewhere close. And he wins. And then he literally wakes up the next morning and walks 36 holes with his buddy helping him. I'm like, I couldn't do that.
Dude, but imagine being his buddy, right?
Yeah.
So you're golfing and everyone's there is like, hey, Victor, congratulations yesterday. And you're just like, dude.
You know what sucks? Yeah, you know what sucks for him is he probably did have a crowd following him because of Victor. And then he's like, oh, shit, I better play good. You know?
That and everyone just congratulating Victor.
Yeah.
And maybe he's shanking the ball or whatever. But that's a good friend right there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's what's so awesome about golf is, and I mean, moto's the same, dude. Like I've blown up a bike before and, you know, my buddy gave me his bike to race like during the races, you know? So there's so much good like camaraderie in sports and, you know, like stories like that are awesome. I mean, Victor could have disappeared for a month, went on a vacation, not done nothing, you know, but like he's back out there and supporting. And I can't remember what the tournament was, but probably some kind of qualifier for something, you know?
Oh yeah. I got it right here. It was the U.S. Open final qualifying in Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's
it was a big deal for his friend.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because that's huge. Because that's what's cool about the U.S. Opens. Like Yosti tried to qualify for. Anyone can try and qualify for it. You don't have to. I think you have to have a certain handicap, like a 2 or something like that. But other than that, like I could, if I was a scratch golfer, just me how I am, I could sign up for it. And I mean, shit, to have Victor on the bag, he's going to the U.S. Open. Yeah. You know, he's probably got good insight. Like, because that, like I've said, that kid probably knows how to play golf. Yeah. But Victor could be there to be like, hey, man, like, it's just golf. Go out and hit your shot. You know, like, don't think about it as like a U.S. Open qualifier and maybe kind of sort his head in that sense, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It just kind of popped in my head, but like in Happy Gilmore, talking about like being a good caddy and everything. There was that one part where like Shooter McGavin pitches into, you know, on the rough and he holds it and he's like, oh, 9-iron, huh? Well, you're fired.
You're fired. Yeah.
It makes me think like, dude, why would that guy tell him 9-iron right there?
No, I've always thought about that actually. Like when I think he even said 5-iron or something.
Yeah, it was something stupid. Something like and it should have been like a
lob wedge.
A wedge.
Yeah, I've always wondered that, and
that's why he got fired.
You know what else we just figured out that we can't figure out is on Caddyshack. You know, at the end of the tournament with like Chevy Chase, Dangerfield against the judge and the doctor or whatever. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I've watched that movie for years, right? And at the end when Dangerfield gets hurt, I think they're tied. And it comes down to the final putt with Noonan and the judge. And the judge makes his, and then Noonan's ball stops and then falls in, and they celebrate like he won. But they were like tied going into the last hole or something like that. Do you ever, I don't know. Pay attention to it.
Yeah, I have to watch that one.
Yeah, unless I'm missing something. But I could have swore like the Caddyshack boss, I thought he comes onto the green and says like they're all square or something going into the last hole. And they make it like an $80,000 bet. And then Noonan makes the putt, and he's like the hero, and we're all, I'm not very good at math, but didn't they just tie? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a weird ending, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some weird stuff in the movies.
Oh, dude, speaking of weird stuff, to go towards the end of the podcast here, there's been U.S. intel. This is kind of like breaking news too. The DOD, which is Department of Defense, has put out some statements out there, and they said it's open for the public. But they said we have a craft of non-human origin. Objects retrieved are from exotic origin, non-human intelligence, and materials include intact and partially intact vehicles. So they're putting out there that
some UFO action.
Yeah, they got some UFOs, complete full UFOs, and then broken ones, and they also have whatever was driving it. So aliens.
Well, I mean, like I've told you, dude, you know that part in the signs when the alien walks across the window?
Yeah.
If I have my hat and shirt off, that's what I look like. So I'm pretty sure I might be one of them, besides like the intelligence part. So they're out there. They're among us.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. This is basically, if this is all true and stuff,
Mhm.
it's like, well, start showing us the stuff, but then everything else doesn't even matter.
I know.
Like Live, PGA, election next
No.
year, like all that stuff. Who cares?
Yeah, we're
Like,
getting overtaken by aliens.
yeah, there's aliens out there.
God, I'm going to get a 12-pack right now.
I
That
mean,
stresses me out. Like I'm sweating again.
yeah, might as well.
God, yeah, dude. I don't know. Me and Bubs always go over like, what in the hell is this world, right?
Mhm.
Like, are we actually a simulation? Is there a God, like a heaven and a hell? Like, because sometimes it's so weird because I look into a lot of, like, we've talked about conspiracies and stuff, right? And just how like there was skyscrapers and pyramids and, aircrafts like already kind of built as like mankind started to really bloom. If you look at like early 1900s, 1800s, right? I'm not going into like 1400, 1500s, but it's like the technology they already had back then.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're trying to say like dudes were hanging off of like rebar, like 900 stories up in New York City building those buildings. But it's like, I feel like they just kind of appeared. Aliens. They built their domes. The pyramids were built like before mankind was even around. Like, how do you describe? Because like I actually watched this cool documentary, and they said that there's like cement pillars inside of the pyramids,
Mhm.
and they're like 350 tons or like 500 tons each a piece, and there's like
They're solid.
they're solid. And so the huge like conspiracy revolving around that is there's not enough mankind power that could have lifted those up, right? Built them and then lifted them
Especially
up.
back then.
Yeah. Right? Like that's some kind of technology or
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's sometimes when I sit around, I'm like, dude, this life's weird.
Yeah,
Like,
it's definitely weird.
You got Elon putting shit in people's brains now that's supposed to, because we use 10% of our brains. Dude, this thing's supposed to open up to like 90%.
Well,
Can you imagine?
I wouldn't mind it. Then I would know if there's aliens or how they did it.
And I wouldn't have to use my calculator every time I try and do like a tip or something at a restaurant. Like I'd like another, 70, 80% of my brain to work. I'm probably down to like 6% now, if I'm being honest though.
Of your brain? What do we use?
10.
10%?
The average human uses 10% of their brain. And I'm not that. Especially with Google and calculators and stuff. Dude, I never think no more. It's a sad day.
Yeah. And with the AI coming out.
Now, you can do like your finals and reports and stuff, just talking into Chat GPT. Like they're either really trying to make us stupid or something's going on.
Yeah.
Because imagine kids like that just do that now for homework and stuff. It's like, what the hell are we learning?
Yeah. I will say though, I saw one episode and it made me feel so much better about stuff. And this is why people have conspiracies, because of fear. They want to grasp and hold on to something because they don't know what's going on, which I get it, you know. But it was the Waco, Texas one.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
The Colt. Yeah, I saw that.
So did you watch it?
I think I did. Yeah, I watched one of them. Okay. Something on that.
So it's a new series. I think it's on Netflix. But the first episode, basically, it got to it. I thought it was going to like lead into it, but it got to it. It was like they started the gunfight and everything like on that. But what was interesting was there was, I believe, 2 people that were there on the documentary talking. And the way they were talking was basically like back then we thought this David Koresh guy, he was God, basically.
Like a higher power,
Yeah, blah, blah. And they thought like everything he said, basically. And then it just makes you think like those people at that time thought that the world was ending.
Yeah.
That this guy was like God. He was there to help them and all this shit. Everything happens. And then we're, I don't know, like 30 years later. And those motherfuckers are still here. And they've gone through life just like us.
Yeah.
With everything, Y2K, the pandemic, everything. And it just goes to show you sometimes people think like, dude, the world is ending. This is it. This is going to be it. But no, dude, it keeps on going.
And it's been doing that since the early times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the 60s or 70s, we're supposed to have an ice age.
Yeah.
And then it went back to like overheat, like we were going to all burn to death. And then the sun's going to go out. And, it's like, and honestly, that's like, call me what you will, but that's why I've never watched the news. Because like my mom used to have it on when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And not even like weird conspiracy stuff, but like you'd watch the news. No, this morning there was a car wreck and 2 infants died and the family died.
Yeah, that's it.
But in other news, a house got broke into in Reno. So watch out, there's a burglar on the loose. And then in other news, there was a huge hurricane in Florida, killed 106. Like, I'm like, is there good news? Like, or, and every news station you watch, CNN, your local one, there's never like a nice story to it. You know what I mean?
It's always the fear mongering.
Yeah, it's like they've said, like the mind control thing, like you put like the pandemic, like, yes, COVID happened. Yes, some people did die, but I read this stuff. It was actually on CDC site, so I'm not all the way out there. Out of all the COVID deaths, 6% of the deaths were strictly COVID.
Yeah.
Just COVID. No obesity, no diabetes, no elderly. You know what I mean? But when you watch the news, everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
Like if you don't do this, like everyone's gonna, like, how come all the homeless are still alive? If this thing's just sweeping the world, you know, all the homeless are sitting under the bridges doing freaking crack, and
they're rampant in LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, and they're not all dying. So that's why I've always, like, everyone just tells me I'm an idiot. Like, I'm not getting vaxxed. I'm an idiot. I'm not doing this. I'm an idiot. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm an idiot. I'm like, well, look around you, dude. Like, you know, the flu's been around forever. And that's basically what a lot of symptoms were that people had. It's not like some people said it was worse than others, but, and I know I'm going to get my ass chewed from someone about this, but I'm just kind of stating a fact is like, how come, like, my grandma got COVID? She's fine.
I got COVID twice.
Yeah, she's 93 years old and she's supposed to be the high risk, you know, but she's healthy. No, I mean, dude, she weighs like 100 pounds, you know, no obesity, none of that. But where I'm going with this is they'll fear you into this pandemic, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little afraid at first just because of my grandma.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, even if I have a sore throat, if this thing's is real, like, I'm not going to go over there just because she is in her 90s, you know? But there's like 300,000 deaths a year from obesity. And when COVID hit and everything was shut down, the McDonald's drive-through line was like out to the road. So we're afraid of a cold, but we're not afraid of fast food that's not real food, that's killing people, making people fat. So that drove me nuts. I saw a chick in her car next to me at a stoplight with a mask on, with gloves on, pulls her mask down, smoking a cigarette. I'm like, okay, so you're not worried about lung, like, that's a proven fact that lung cancer will happen chain smoking, right?
Yeah.
We're not worried about that. We're still worried about this virus that's out there. And that's where I just, like, you really realize, man, that they can say anything on the news and it will just, people will do whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, I got yelled at by a girl in the grocery store. She's in a rascal, dude, probably 250 and mask on, everything. And she's yelling at me because I don't have my mask on, but her whole rascal is full of like processed foods, boxed foods, junk food, you know, like freaking cupcakes and, you know, all that shit that's bad for you. And it's like, when are people going to start taking accountability for worrying about stuff they can control?
Yeah.
You know, like, if COVID was real and it was just a sweeping virus, then shit, that sucks.
Well, it was real. It just wasn't what they made it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the death reel, not getting colds and not, you know, some people did pass away, unfortunately. But what I'm saying is, like, you can control your diet and the way you take care of yourself. But instead, you're 250 pounds sitting in a rascal with gloves and a mask on, probably smoking cigarettes, probably eating fast food every day. And it's like, how come you're not afraid of that?
Yeah.
Why are you afraid of what CNN's saying, but you're not afraid of the stuff that's right in front of your face?
Yeah. And that's cool too. Like, if you want to do that, that's cool. But like, don't have that big opinion or the nerve to like call someone out when you see them at the store or whatever. But like, you know, that's kind of where I wanted to go with it. Just, it's just refreshing. Like, do what you want. You know, you live your life how you want, and you live a good life. I live my life. But at the end of the day, it's funny. You could look back to situations in history where people probably thought, like, this is the end. This is whatever. And then nothing happened. And they're still alive to this day. And then now it's like, shit, I was an idiot. Yeah. You know?
Or do you wonder if they still, like, believe the next big thing's coming? They're like, oh,
I mean, maybe.
You know, the only thing that honestly scared me, and I was 18 years old or 19 years old, was the Y2K thing. Because, not because of death, right? But it was like scary because they said everything was going to go to digital.
Yeah.
So like, you didn't have like cash that you put in a bank no more, right? They were saying everything was going to be digital and computers couldn't keep up and like it was going to crash our world. Like, I'm more afraid of that.
Yeah.
Like, what if you wake up one day and you have 10 grand in your account and you wake up and it's just all gone? Like, well, we don't know what happened. We can't keep and we
that would happen to me if I won the lottery, like 100 million.
Yeah.
The next day they'll be like, oh yeah, you know what? The bank's crashed.
Dude, like Johnny Depp and Blow.
Is that what happened to him?
No, but remember he put like 60 million in the bank because they couldn't hold it in their house. And then one day they said that like the government seized it.
Yeah.
He had nothing. He was broke. That's the kind of stuff that if was on the news would scare me more. Because that's real. Dude, and could you imagine the mass chaos?
Oh yeah.
Like, that's what I'm afraid of, is people losing their shit and looting and, you know, whatever's going on, because like all of a sudden our banks are like, this whole digital currency thing that's going on is kind of scary, because they're saying basically like they can freeze your account at any time. So imagine you're trying to feed your kids and, you know, your wife, and you have good jobs, and then you did something that they didn't agree with, and all of a sudden you can't get into your account. Yeah. And it's like, that's more scary than like a virus where you're reading about it and the symptoms are a sore throat, cough, you know, this and that. You could you know, if you have these underlying conditions, like, I'm like, okay, well, I'll take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I drank for like a month straight. I didn't take care of myself.
Well,
but
I mean, on paper, maybe that kills the virus.
Yeah, I think it did, dude.
The alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going on, what's it been, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Not even cold yet.
I got it twice.
Yeah.
And when I got it was pretty bad, but it only lasted, the first time it lasted a week where I was pretty sick. And the second time it lasted 2 days, but I was fucked up.
Yeah. No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and you know, what's actually weird is I think I got COVID before COVID because like, I don't ever get sick. I mean, head cold, little sinus here and there, but never like deathbed. And at the end of 2019, so like 4 or 5 months before COVID came out, I went to Wisconsin and did a golf trip. Dude, and I got home and I was dead for 3 days. Couldn't like, I'd go lay on the couch and couldn't even keep my eyes open, body aches, sweating, you know, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, damn, dude, I haven't been like this since I was like in school as like a kid, you know? And then 5 months later, like, oh, this virus came out and this, and I'm like, did I start it?
Yeah.
I thought I brought it over. I'm like, oh shit, dude.
Oh shit, you went to Wuhan?
Yeah.
All right, to end the show, worth watching this week in UFC 289.
Gonna be a good one.
It's a pay-per-view one, so those usually are pretty good.
I just made it up. I had no idea who's in it.
7 p.m.
Okay.
West
Eastern,
Coast
Pacific?
time.
Okay.
Pacific. We got Amanda Nunes.
Oh, I know who that is.
Versus Irene Aldana.
Do you think anyone ever calls like Amanda nudes if they get a nude from her?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
That was dumb. I admit. Sometimes I say stupid stuff.
And then we got the co-main event, which actually should probably be a main event, but the Amanda fight is for the belt.
Okay.
Amanda's gonna mop that chick
Most
up.
likely.
And then we got Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush.
I'm picking Beneil.
You know what? I'm taking Beneil as well.
No, because this is our Yerb's bet.
We got to take. Okay.
I get Beneil. You just have to go, dude. Sometimes
I'll go with Charles, but in my heart, I want Beneil to win. Actually, that is pretty true.
Yeah.
In my heart, I want Beneil to win because he kind of looks like a math teacher, and he's been like on a good.
Are you stereotyping, dude?
Kind of body shaming.
Okay, yeah, shaming.
He doesn't look like a fighter. He kind of has the Derek Berlew going on, pure white hair.
Okay, sick.
He's been on a good streak, right? And he doesn't get like his props.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the title or the shot for it or anything like that. So I think if he wins this, then he's going to be ranked number 1 in the world to go against the champion. So obviously it'd be cool to see that happen. But Charles Oliveira is the ex-champion. That defended his, so it's.
So see, you still got a good pick.
Yeah. So
for a free year.
So for betting, it's kind of like, obviously you go for Charles.
Yeah.
Bet for the underdog, which you like anyways.
Yeah.
You go for Beneil.
Okay. Can't wait to get that free beverage.
Yeah. So we got that going on. Other than that, that's it, dude. Is
there a motor race this weekend?
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Motocross?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere.
Okay.
There's
a dirt bike race.
They go back east, probably.
Yeah, probably. But good show. Hope you guys liked it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging with the boys.
What's our social?
Our socials are at @theboys_pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
All the good stuff.
Oh, yeah. All the good stuff.
Yep.
Catch this video on YouTube. Go over there. Give us a subscribe. Like the video. You could go to Apple Podcasts. I know a lot of people listen to this on Apple. Yep.
I subscribed to my own podcast. That's how much of a nerd I am.
That's
it's like kind of like liking your own photo on Instagram.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's one more like.
Yeah.
So make sure you subscribe there. Leave us a rating, 5-star rating.
Please.
And leave us a comment. And then if you leave a comment, question, we'll answer it on the pod.
We're ready.
Yeah. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.